Good afternoon, friends. I am Dhanish Sharma, PMS distributor and mutual fund distributor. Today we have BT sir with us. BT sir is in Delhi today. He is heading Abacus Mutual Fund. BT sir, welcome to Delhi, sir, and greetings from all our investors, sir.
Thank you so much.
BT sir, please tell us something about present international and Indian markets, sir.
So small correction, I am the trustee on the board of mutual fund. Vaibhav Chugh is heading the mutual fund. That's a small correction. From an international market perspective, see, last 18 months India has not performed. Other markets like China, Taiwan, they've given fabulous return. We had a little bit of slowdown due to elections and capex and other spending, and we were kind of struggling with tariffs, and everything was almost behind us when this whole war situation came through. But if investors recall, right now the biggest worry is war. I think last 2 weeks ago the biggest worry would have been maybe tariff. Last year it would have been Trump. Prior to that it would have been some Operation Sindhu. Prior to that it would have been Russia, Ukraine. So every year for last 15, 20 years, India had some or the other worry. 2007 we reached $1 trillion economy, and from there till 2026, which is almost a span of 19 years, you had all the events which only happens once in 100 years. Whether it is global financial crisis, whether it is demonetization, whether it is COVID, whether it is war in geopolitical countries. So I think everything has happened, and despite that, economy has grown from 1 trillion to 4.5 trillion. Our belief is that India is one of the markets where the GDP expansion essentially translates into market cap, and India grows because of the entrepreneurs despite the government, right? So as long as the fundamental GDP growth continues to happen, the fundamental companies continues to kind of earn. If you are a long only investor, if you are a fundamental focused investor, you can keep on investing based on companies' growth, and eventually if you can identify companies which can develop their earnings in 4 to 5 years, you will end up having returns which are following. Last 20-25 years, data for Sensex, Nifty or any other index you look at, not just India, across the globe, you will find that returns and earnings, they go hand in hand. Sometimes returns come earlier, earning comes later. Sometimes earning comes earlier, return comes later. Now is the time when earning has already started coming. You are seeing last quarter result after 6-7 quarters. You are seeing the signs of growth. We have seen large cap earning in the range of 10 to 12%, mid cap in the range of 15-16%, and small cap upwards of 30%. So the earnings have already come. The only thing pending is returns, which will eventually follow.
Sir, how do you see Indian markets in 2026, sir?
I think yes, we have gone through some challenges. I think the tariff situation is solved. We have signed almost 22 agreements on the FTA side. Those are going to kind of start impacting fairly soon in next 6 months, and that's a large market for India in terms of export as well as for import from that perspective. I think oil as a worry eventually will subside. If you look back in 2007, we were importing almost 900 million barrels of oil, and at a price of 148 dollar per barrel. It was roughly 15% of our GDP at that point in time. Fast forward, economy has grown as almost 4.5 times, but the oil condensity has grown only 2 times. Right now, we are importing roughly about 1.7, 1.8 billion barrels, and even at a theoretical price of 150, if that happens, it is going to be only 5-6% of the economy. So the oil intensity to GDP has come down thanks to your ethanol blending, thanks to your adoption of EV and CNG gas and everything. I think government has been pushing really hard the renewables, which has brought down our oil bill. So right now, I think you've seen the news from US that they allowed us to buy oil from Russia. You've seen that Reliance is setting up a refinery in US, and you also seen some news about Indian ships being able to safely pass through the Strait of Hormuz and land in India. So I think the kind of diplomatic relationship India has made over last 10-12 years, that will really come in handy with respect to how we deal with this situation. If you look at history from 1940, on an average, every geopolitical event has lasted between 12 to 15 days. I think we've already gone through almost 12-13 days. Maybe a few more weeks, 1 or 2 more weeks, it should be over. And as soon as it is over, market will return to fundamentals. And by that time, we'll already be looking at March 27 earnings. And on that basis, you're already seeing Nifty below 10-year average in terms of valuation. So if I told you, boss, आपको 2016 का भाव अभी मिल रहा है, आप खरीदोगे कि नहीं खरीदोगे? That is the whole point. Idea is to kind of find out managers who can kind of do that judgment in terms of which companies are going to grow. Now, the first $1 trillion of economy was contributed by jute, cotton, steel. The second, $1 to $4 trillion journey was contributed by private banks, by IT services, by pharma. We think that the $4 to $8 trillion journey will be contributed by new sectors, new sunrise sector. It could be data centers, artificial intelligence, cloud security, cyber security, semiconductors, travel and tourism, medical devices, aerospace, defense. These sectors were not there maybe 10, 15 years ago. And if you look at the data of companies from 2,000 crore to 35,000 crore, almost 900 odd companies are there. And majority of these companies, you will find these sunrise sectors are there. And large number of companies, almost 90-95% of the companies in these sectors are small cap. And if those companies continue to kind of grow at the earning growth which we were expecting, I think these sunrise sectors have a long potential to contribute to India's economy. So look for new sectors, look for sectors which have fallen, the valuation has kind of come to senses and growing. And as long as I think you have these 3 or 4 pillars, should be good.
Sir, as Honorable Chairman of APMI in India, please share your insights on PMS industry in India, mutual fund industry in India, and Abacus PMS and Abacus Mutual Fund, sir.
So 2 things. I think one, as the financialization of saving grows up, we are roughly about 5 to 8% in terms of mutual fund to GDP ratio or financial assets to GDP ratio. If economy doubles from 4 trillion to 8 trillion, this ratio, even if that remains same, your assets as a single MFD are going to double. If the percentage increases and the economy doubles, you will have a multiplier kind of impact from that perspective. You've seen that 10 years ago, a single AMC or the total size of industry of mutual fund was roughly about 10 lakh crore. And now there are a couple of AMCs which are more than 10 lakh crore, right? So industry has grown up from 10 lakh to 81 lakh crore. PMS industry also has come long way. If you include the discretionary, non-discretionary EPFO money, we're roughly about 41 lakh crore in terms of size. Globally, SMA industry, which is the PMS industry, is almost 3-4 times the size of mutual fund industry. We think that is something which is possible in India, given the wealth effect, given the more wealthier people which are coming in India. And eventually you will find that people have access to all the products, whether it is mutual fund, whether it is PMS, whether it is any other product. It will depend on asset allocation, it will depend on what clients look forward to. From a Abacus perspective, I think we have presence in all the domains. As a house, we are very, very fundamental focused only in asset management in listed Indian equities. We offer mutual funds, we offer AIF, we offer PMS. PMS has obviously a history of about 6-7 years. We manage close to about 40,000 crore in AIF PMS. Mutual fund journey has recently started. Vaibhav is looking after it. And I think there we have had 2 or 3 NFOs. The recent one being Abacus Small Cap, which has just closed. And hopefully we will have more funds as we grow along.
Sir, to our small individual investors, give a mantra so that they become long-term investors, sir.
I think the role majority of the heavy lifting market is already doing for you. So as long as you manage behavioral finance and keep on consistently investing. See, I saw analysis that if you had started your SIP when the market was at the peak in 2008, or you had started your SIP when market was at the bottom in 2009, your returns would have been pretty much similar, right? So the key here was consistency and discipline, and not about when you started to invest, right? As long as I think you keep on investing, India is a market which is fundamentally growing, and if that keeps on growing, you will always have returns coming through. So I think one of the few markets in India which has GDP growth across the world, and young population. So you have favorable demographics, young population. You have domestic consumption, 85% of the economy. You have a vibrant democracy, and you have a large digital infrastructure. 25 years ago, if you would have started your journey as a mutual fund distributor or regulated intermediary, you would have to fill manual forms. I remember back when I started my CA, we had to fill these income tax return by putting in carbon copy paper, right? And then you have to get it stamped. These days you can't even think about those things, right? And I think that technology has given you breadth and depth, where now unique investors in mutual funds are roughly about 5 crores. Even if that goes to like 13 crores, which is the unique number of DMAT holders, I think the growth is mind-boggling. So stay invested, stay disciplined, and work on behavioral finance. I think those are the 3 mantras for long-term investors.
Sir, for individual MFDs, please share your insights so how that they can scale their business, sir.
I think this is one of the businesses where you can compete with a large institution also, provided you give relationships. See, you are in a relationship and reputation business, right? The conversations which you can have with clients, which can define their mindset, cannot happen anywhere else, right? And as long as you continue doing that, nobody can stop you from growing. So your key strength is that client knows you, client's families knows you, and you know them, right? So you can be very, very individual in terms of your approach when it comes to client, right? You have relationship with clients for almost 10, 15, 20 years, right? You've seen generation, you've seen kids grow, you've seen their education goal fulfilled, right? That amount of trust, I think people used to have with their chartered accountants or people with their lawyers or family doctors. I think that is a position eventually which you can govern if you keep on doing. The only caveat to do that is, good old days, the saying was do or die. Now the saying is learn or die. If you don't evolve yourself, whether it is PMS distribution, whether it is SIF distribution, whether it is any other exam, whether it is professional qualification like what you are doing, I think it's difficult to kind of meet the needs of evolving. 20 years ago, half of the products which are there were not there. So how can you rely on your knowledge 20 years ago, right? Income tax is a classic example. Every year it changes. Now, whether you are the income tax officer, whether you are a chartered accountant, every year you have to read it, right? So if rest of the world is kind of reading every year, managing their continuous professional education, why can't the intermediaries do it? And if they do it, I think nobody can stop them from growing.
Sir, you have today shared valuable insights on behavioral finance, on the PMS sector, on international sector, on mutual fund sector. On behalf of all our investors, I thank you, sir. Thanks for giving your valuable time to our show, sir. Thank you very much, sir.
Thank you, Danish ji. I think you're doing a wonderful job. As long as you keep on doing, your clients will be happy, they'll be wealthier. And as long as they are wealthier, you will automatically become wealthier. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Thank you, sir.